Right, welcome back Year 8th. Today we are looking at devices used to create representations. So far we have looked at the fact that representations can be found in all types of text. Representations do not reflect reality, they are selective constructions. And finally, that representations are influenced by the author's cultural attitudes, values and beliefs. Today, however, we are going to be looking at how authors and text creators use specific devices to create representations. More specifically, we're looking at the verbal devices, which are the words that text creators use, and the visual devices, which are the images that can be found in texts. But why is it important to identify the devices used to create representations? Essentially, when we analyse representations, we can start to understand the writer's or speaker's likely attitudes and beliefs about things, people, social groups, places, and times. So when we produce text, whether they be spoken, written, or visual, we use words and images, often in combination, to represent ideas, to make meanings, and to represent our version of the world to others. Therefore, we must become critical thinkers and be able to analyse how text creators are positioning us as the audience to feel about a person, place, or thing. So, let's break this down. We're going to be looking at some of the words that you might find in a piece of text and how they work to position us as the audience. We're going to be looking at emotive language. Emotive language is words with connotations which are designed to convey to or stir up emotion in the reader. These are usually words with strong positive or negative connotations. Take the two examples that are listed here. First one being, government slashes support for impoverished single mums. Notice the words slashes support and impoverished single mums. As you can see, these are strong emotive words that have been used to connote a negative representation. The second example there says government reduces benefit payments to low-income one-parent families. We've replaced the word slashes support to reduces benefit payments, and we've replaced impoverished single mums to low-income one-parent families. So as you can see, the emotive language has been removed out of that second example there, stating the facts. So although both denote the same thing, the emotive language used in the first sentence is clearly designed to elicit an emotional response from the reader. Secondly, we are looking at modality. So modality refers to the level of certainty within a text. Using high modality increases the authority of the writer. However, using low modality indicates a lack of certainty. It can sometimes indicate a writer's personal opinion or speculation. Notice in the table there are low modality, medium modality, and high modality words listed. Low modality being words such as could, couldn't, or doubtful, and high modality being absolutely, always, and certainly. These are obviously only a few examples of low, medium, and high modality words. Thirdly, we are looking at a hyperbole. Thirdly, we are looking at hyperboles, generalizations, and oversimplifications. A hyperbole is an exaggeration for emphasis, comic or dramatic effect. A generalization is a vague or imprecise statement, one that often stereotypes a wide group of people or situations without basis in fact. Lastly, there is the oversimplification, which is a statement that does not give the full or real meaning due to the omission of essential information or detail. These are often used in news media to accentuate the situation. Lastly, we are looking at the tone. So the tone is not a technique in and of itself. However, tone is created by some other techniques such as structure, word choices, sound, point of view, juxtaposition, imagery, hyperboles, etc. So once you have identified the tone, you should focus on those other techniques which create it. On the right, as you can see, there is a long list of different types of tones that may be used within news articles for your reference. Alright, now we are moving on to the visual devices or the images that can be seen that accompany text types. Firstly, we are looking at the images themselves and also font sizes. So as we've just said, images refer to the images that are found accompanying pieces of text, such as that you might find in a newspaper article. And font size, we might be talking about headlines. Headlines may be in larger font sizes to draw in the reader's attention and create an impact. There are two examples on the bottom there. On the left, obviously you can see, "Help, a dingo's got my baby." As you can see, that font size is quite large. It is grabbing the reader's attention and also making an impact. On the right, the image is obviously much larger than the headline, putting emphasis on the situation that's happening, obviously reiterating that our country is on fire. Next, we have colour. So colour is really, really important to look at in terms of visual literacy. There are many emotions associated with colour, and these become very important when analysing the tone of a visual image. Consider this image on the right. As you can see, each colour has different connotations, and these become particularly important when considering the representation the author has created. So we might have a look at a few. So black, it might connote sophistication, power, mystery, evil, death. Whereas, say, yellow connotes joy, cheerfulness, friendliness, and so on. Lastly, we are looking at camera angles. So camera angles refer to images that are shot from different heights to convey different emotion. There are two provided here. We've got low angle shots and high angle shots. In the low angle shot, you can use a low angle shot to make your subject look more strong and powerful. This means that you aim the camera from underneath. So in that image there, it is a low angle shot looking up at a woman who is obviously then looking down at a child. This gives that woman, the subject in the image, power over that little girl. Alternatively, we have a high angle shot, which you can use to make your subject appear more weak and powerless. This means that you film your subject from above. So we're looking at a young girl here. It is a high angle shot, making the subject, this little girl, appear more weak. So as you can see, authors will use varying devices in order to create a specific representation. Now we're going to apply this knowledge of the devices and analyse some representations in media texts. So, going through a model response, we're going to be looking at a media text, and there are a couple steps that have to occur in order to do this. So step one, we're just going to identify the headline of the article. That just means write down exactly what the headline is. Step two, we are identifying whether it is a positive or a negative representation. Step three, we're identifying the verbal and visual devices that the news article has used. And lastly, we're going to use this to construct a cohesive paragraph about the representation that the article has created. So you've seen this one in an earlier slide. Alright, so you've seen this image in an earlier slide. We are looking at this specifically. It says, "Help, a dingo's got my baby. Parent's nightmare as sleeping toddler dragged from tent in Azaria-style attack." So here there are a few things happening. Obviously we are looking at the headline, the title, the font. It is big and it is bold, obviously catching the reader's attention. You can see they have included an image of a dingo here, as well as the colour red. So as we spoke about, the colour red might connote blood or fear or anger. Okay, so some of these devices have been used together to obviously create a clear representation. As you can see here, there is a model response in relation to the news article that we just saw on the previous slide. Headline being, "Terror on Fraser Island. Help, a dingo's got my baby." Representation statement is the article constructs the representation of dingoes as evil and cunning creatures that attack the innocent. The supporting evidence looking just at the visual constructs on this article. So as we spoke about, the red slash at the top of the article is symbolic for blood. The menacing picture of the dingo in the bottom corner looking like it's ready to pounce on an unsuspecting victim. And the layout of the article, the big, bold black letters, are used to draw the reader's attention to the article. Now looking at the written devices or constructs that the author has used. The word terror in the headline creates fear. "Help, a dingo's got my baby." These words are quoted from a previous attack that happened in 1980, They are a direct quote from the mother. The use of the word baby frames the dingo in a negative way, as babies are helpless. Parent's nightmare again paints a picture of fear and disaster. Sleeping toddler dragged from tent, as it was an unsuspecting victim. Azaria style attack. This comment links this attack back to the attack on Azaria Chamberlain in 1980. It was an attack on a harmless baby. Alright, so we've just talked through, obviously, a lot of the different devices or techniques that text creators and authors use to create representations. We have given you some steps to follow and also modelled a response. So what we are asking you to do now is find the activity on Compass, work your way through some of those news articles, and create the steps.